No 40% telecom tariff hike now, says Nigerian Communications Commission. Oil wobbles as global economic worries offset tightening supply. 40 quick win projects in progress to improve supply, says Abuja Electricity Distribution Company. Gold prices inch lower as firm dollar dents appeal. This is Business Express on the network service of the NTA, and we are reaching you from Abuja, the nation's capital. I am Musa Abubakar. Now let's bring you up to speed with business development. President Muhammad Buhari is of the view that for faster recovery of the Nigerian economy, the business community should reinvest proceeds of their businesses into the economy for more jobs. Minister of Labour and Employment was speaking on behalf of the President at the maiden edition of Nigeria Employers Summit organized by the Nigeria's Consultative Association in Abuja.
He said, as we make profits, let us plow back such profits and create and retain jobs. As the cost of production rises and consequently causing a rise in the cost of goods and services, there is a justifiable consideration that we should equally, as government, try to, by tax credit and other forms of support, ensure that companies are alive so that the social protection floor is not compromised.
Following months of epileptic power supply in Abuja and environs, the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company, AEDC, says it is embarking on 40 quick win projects aimed at rehabilitating its network to improve power supply. A statement by its managing director, Adeoye Fadeyibi, the projects currently ongoing include the overloaded feeders, acquiring new distribution transformers and repair of 78 existing ones. This is in addition to ongoing maintenance on its 34 power transformers, while acknowledging the persistent poor electricity supply in Abuja and environs. AEDC appeals to electricity consumers to be patient as industry players addresses broader challenges of low generation and system instability. Trade ministers from member countries of the World Trade Organization have adopted 10 decisions and declaration at the just concluded World Trade Organization 12th Ministerial Conference at Geneva, Switzerland. The Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment, Mariam Katagun, who led the Nigerian delegation, commended the Director General, WTO Dr. Ngonze Okonjo-Iweala, on the structured modalities of sessions which provided a constructive way of engagement on the WTO response to the pandemic, food crisis, fisheries subsidies, agricultural reforms and general reforms as part of the conference outcome documents. 10 ministerial decisions and declarations were adopted by the trade ministers, including adoption of the 20 years outstanding agreement on fishery subsidies, among others. Ministerial conference is the topmost decision-making body of the WTO.
We set out to agree a process, and we've agreed that E-commerce moratorium, we've been able to extend that for another 2 years. So if you look across the board, I think what the word people have been using, and I put in my own conclusion, is an unprecedented outcome. So I'll just leave it at that. Is substantive. People can say they went, they took home very tangible results for the people that they serve. So I'll leave it at that. Thank.
Now, reconstruction work on Lagos Badagry Expressway is advancing despite the onset of the rainy season, with all hands on deck to meet the year 2023 delivery date. Adende Taiwo reports that Works and Housing Minister Babatunde Raji Fashola, while inspecting the project, said even at the current stage, the federal government's ease of doing business policy is already becoming a reality along the corridor.
On one side, we have 16 kilometers of single carriageway, half of the dual carriageway completed. We'll transfer it to the other side. You saw in the early parts from Agbara area where earthworks is going on. Completion time is dependent on weather and so many things. We think that we can finish this early in year 2023.
Now, the Nigerian ambassador to Togo, Adesina Adebowale, is confident that the bilateral relations between Nigeria and Togo will receive a massive boost with the growth of their volume of trade. The ambassador gave the indication when he received the Executive Director, Nigerian Export Promotion Council, Dr. Ezra Yakusak, at the Nigerian Embassy in Lomé, Togo.
There is too much that Nigeria has to put on the table for them to take advantage of. And it is in their taking advantage of the strength of Nigeria that they will find their own strength. So that education is going on. There is no need for any fear of domination on anything. Of course, we have oil. We have a lot of agricultural resources. Just look at some of the things that are on display today. Instead of going to China, instead of going to France, instead of going to Turkey to buy anything, you have it just next door to you. And what Export Trade and NEPC has done or have done is now to bring the thing to the doorsteps of our neighbors to say it's there. Just walk into that shop, you see everything, place your order, appropriate pricing, and then you are good to go.
The Nigerian products are making inroads. They actually yearn for Nigerian products. From the market intelligence report we got, and so our products are high up there. Hopefully by 2025, our exports to Togo should pick up over 30%. That's our projection, really. And we're not going to rest. We will do everything to ensure that that projection come to pass.
Now, there has been much talk and action towards the shift from overdependence on oil and gas to agricultural produce, solid minerals, chemical products, furniture and clothing, as well as tourism, among others. How far has the country fared in this effort? Joining me to talk more on the subject matter is Executive Secretary, Institute of Export Operations Management, Ofon Udofia. You're welcome to Business Express.
Thank you so much. Good to be with you.
Okay, well, the latest GDP figures by the National Bureau of Statistics shows quite a promising prospect for the non-oil sector with 6.08% growth. Are we moving in the right direction?
Certainly we are, because it's not what it used to be before.
Okay.
So with the government initiative to deviate, or as it were, go into a non-oil export sector, agriculture and the solid minerals have really helped us thus far. Even from the period that we had the slight in the price of oil after this government took over till this time that the price is picking up and my dependence on importing finished product, the way to go is what the government is doing. I pray they should do it consistently with more sincerity. That will help us in a short period of time.
Okay, now how much of potential does Nigeria have to scale up her exports, particularly non-oil exports?
Yes, the potential is great. Apart from the few crops we are doing, there's still a lot of potentials in other agricultural products. Value addition especially, because if you are processing cashew nut, we make more money, we create jobs. There'll be no dependence of on the government for all the employment. You see that SMEs can generate foreign exchange. If we still have potentials in the area of solid minerals, we have so many products. Each and every local government in Nigeria is endowed with one product or the other. Like the Niger Delta, you can talk of the aquaculture, the fishery sector, the oil palm sector. Go to the north, like Kaduna, we talk about ginger. We've not explored this. And greater part of this export is done by foreigners. So if 50% of our population of job age could dive into exports, honestly speaking, we are going to gain a lot of foreign exchange and reduce the level of unemployment, which has reached almost a security risk in this country.
Okay, are we doing enough to attract the youths into this?
Yes, I know that even at the United Nations level, we have what we call Youth Initiative in Export, and Nigerian Export Promotion Council also have a section encouraging youth and women to go into export. So what we need to do is that, like we too at our institute, we also have a section for women and youth in export. So it's for us, as it were, to do more, then bring in all the tiers of the government into it, both the local government, the state government, and the federal government. With the percentage of youth we have in the country and the level of youth that are into tech, that are into ICT, we will do a lot both in products and in services.
Okay, the Nigerian Export Promotion Council, NEPC, just came from opening trade houses in Lomé, Togo, and recently in Egypt. Now, with the understanding that Togo is a business hub for a lot of African countries, what does this mean for Nigeria?
Yes, fantastic. I would give a thumb up to Nigeria as it had to do with the Togo trade house, export trade house, because mostly what we are doing in Togo is finished products, and that is good for the economy. But for the Egyptian trade house, I think there's a problem there, because we're doing a lot of raw materials, and which means we are exporting jobs. So such place should be converted into a place where finished products will be sold or exported internationally. And some of these brands should even carry Nigeria. Whereas in Egypt, when these things are processed, it carries back in Egypt. And then it is raw material, which is not very good for us. We should intensify effort to get more of this, but let it be of finished products, not of raw materials.
So we should focus on adding value to these products.
Exactly. Before sending them
where is the place of infrastructure in promoting imports and exports, and generally bringing down the cost of doing business?
Yes, we have a lot of deficit in infrastructure, starting from even where you are doing the value addition, starting from energy, electricity to be specific. So government need to pay much attention to this. We need to have a lot of packaging center, a lot of export processing center that can help our finished product to leave this place, that can turn our raw material. Even within the logistic chain, I'm based in Port Harcourt. The cost of carrying a container from a factory to One is exorbitant. It affects our own pricing. If our products are not competitive, there'll be a problem. So we need to do a lot in the area of infrastructure. Otherwise, we will not be able to compete favorably with other countries.
Now, the launch of the race to $200 billion FX scheme by the CBN is set to generate as much as $200 billion in FX earnings, specifically from non-oil sources. Over the next few years, what is your take on that?
Fantastic initiative, but the implementation is my challenge. Okay. It's a good initiative, but let me also take you down memory lane. Do you understand that when we do export, as in this people we trade, most of their complaint is you are sourcing for your money to finance your exports, and when you bring your money into the country through what they call NSV, Nigerian Export Repatriation Fund, you are asked to exchange at the central bank official exchange rate. Then people who do smuggling to bring in their foreign exchange will be selling at the black market rate. That is the area I want to go first. This will always be able to find a way to circumvent how they can take their foreign exchange out of this country. Then when you say we are talking about RT 200, yes, it's a good initiative. Let's be honest to ourselves. How many big exporters in Nigeria are going to benefit from it? It is still going to be the same thing like what we have with the EEG, the Export Expansion Grant of Nigerian Export Promotion Council. So I have my reservation. The initiative is good. How is it going to be implemented? Are we going to review it? Are we going timelines? Do we have yardstick to look at it, how it works? Yes, bringing money into the system and giving a percentage of that, maybe 65, and the rest of them is good. But what have we done from the grassroots to enable volume, number of people going to export? Are we only going to rely on the Olams, on the Dangotes, on the rest of them? Mention but a few. What are we trying to do? Because if we have maybe in a month or in a quarter 2 million young people doing export in the country, without looking at the big boys, you see what will come into the system.
Okay, thank you very much, Executive Secretary, Institute of Export Operations and Management, Offord Udofia. Thank you for being part of the program.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
Now moving on, oil prices rose on Monday in volatile trade, reversing earlier losses as tightening supplies outweigh concerns about slowing global economic growth and fuel demand. Brent crude futures rose 42 cents to $113.54 a barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude was at $109.85 a barrel, up 29 cents or 0.3%. Oil from Russia, the world's second largest exporter, remains out of reach to most countries because of Western sanctions over Moscow's invasion of Ukraine, actions that Russia calls a special operation. Now, as part of activities marking 60 years of existence, the leadership of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, is back in Baghdad, where it all started to celebrate the story of courage, cooperation, and commitment in providing safe and affordable energy to the global community. Benny Adams has the details.
It is 60 years of providing purposeful leadership in the global energy market under the umbrella of OPEC. And the man of the moment, whose vision and leadership style has helped to stabilize the global energy market, is Nigeria's Mohammed Sanusi Barkindo.
He was barely 1 year old.
The Baghdad Conference in 1960 had the OPEC founding members as Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Venezuela
Gathered together in this very location, in this very historic hall, Al-Shab Hall, on that fateful day, to midwife the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Country into the world.
Iraqi's Minister of Oil and head of his delegation to OPEC, Ihsan Abdul Jabbar Ismail, says the book will be a useful reference tool for future generations who seek to acquaint themselves better with OPEC. Divided into two sections, the book x-rays the 60 years and cross-cutting issues, including key events that predate its establishment, while the second part explores important topics for the organization's mission and work. Today, the organization has 13 member countries, including Nigeria. In Abuja, Benny Adams.
Now let's take a trip to the commodities market. Last week, the equities market in Nigeria closed on a negative note amid sell-offs and buy interest as the benchmark all-share index depreciated by 121 basis points. Leah Babatunde has a sub.
The index lost 2.69% in the week ended 17th June 2022 to settle at 51,778.08 points, with market capitalization going down to 27.914 trillion naira. All other indices were negative, except the NGX growth, which appreciated by 2.79%, while the NGX A7 index was flat. The financial services industry led the activity chart with 692.325 million shares worth 6.22 billion naira in 10,615 deals. It was followed by the conglomerates industry with the consumer goods industry in that order. United Bank of Africa PLC, Sterling Bank PLC, and Transnational Corporation PLC were the top trades in the course of the week. They jointly accounted for 304.8 million shares valued at 1.285 billion naira in 2,108 deals. 2,722 units of exchange-traded products ETPs valued at 1.519 million were traded in 10 deals, while 5,972 units of bonds valued at 6.091 million were traded in 8 deals. On the price movement chart, 13 equities appreciated in price in the course of the week, 51 equities depreciated, while 92 equities remained unchanged.
And our stocks began the week bleeding as the bearish hope persists to see the all-share index decline by 1.97% to settle at 50,756.74 points. Equity capitalization also declined to 27,363 trillion naira. 345 million equities exchanged hands in 5,075 days, valued at 3.073 trillion naira. FCMB, UBA and Access were the most active stocks during the session. Next is global updates with Nekalko.
Hello and welcome to the Global Market Review. Stock markets attained modest gains this Monday after last week's heavy losses as investors braced for a host of U.S. Federal Reserve speakers this week where they could underline a commitment to fight inflation, whatever rates being required. In Europe, stocks were cautiously higher. The DAX in Germany topped 0.56%. The UK's FTSE also gained 0.61%, while the French CAC was up by 0.1%. U.S. index futures also gained as investors assessed the outlook for economic growth amid concerns about the wave of monetary tightening. The Dow Jones Industrial Average was up by 157 points, S&P 500 topped 0.72%, and Nasdaq 100 appreciated by 0.84%. In Asian markets were mixed as investors monitored market reaction to the release of China's latest benchmark lending rates. The Nikkei 225 in Japan finished the trading day 0.74% lower. The Shanghai Composite also depreciated by 0.04%, while Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index climbed 0.42%. African markets like those in Asia also finished mixed. South Africa, Morocco and Tunisia all recorded gains, while Kenya, Namibia and Ghana were below the table. And that's Global Market Review.
Well, that's this Business Express returns Tuesday by 9:30 a.m. I am Musa Abubakar. Thanks for watching.